So I think AD went through this. I mentioned this in the text chat. JJ mentioned something similar. I just want to bring it to the forefront and let's talk.
Rose ain't talk about it.
You ain't deal with it. What is it with agencies? Talking about ad agencies right now. So if you're an ad agency, listen up. What is it with ad agencies and marketing companies putting forward their minority employees in these agency reels, the website, photos, videos, but yet behind closed doors, they're not. The numbers don't equal what's on the website.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk about my own
the
experience.
result don't equal what's on the
Like I could talk real quick about my experience of, I'm sorry, but like being put on specific new business decks or on the website or pitches, but then, you know, you not reflecting that within the agency. All right, question, just for the table. Do you think that, you know, these agencies are taking advantage of the minorities? And it's not just black people, women, black people, LGBT community, putting them at the forefront and like not compensating them or not like
I want to hear JJ's point of view on this.
That hiring more people like that.
Okay.
And you could talk about your own story too if something happened.
I'm gonna do a little soliloquy real quick if y'all don't mind.
I love that.
Okay. So it's funny because we might edit this part out, but it's funny because so I've been at my agency for like a significant amount of years, and you know, when I started at my agency, I was one of two black people in the office, and we were an office of like 75 or something like that. And then over time, more and more people started to come, but for the most part, I remember I was the first person that raised the flag to say like, hey, you guys talked about some stuff. They did like something about like Cinco de Mayo, and I was like, this is wrong, you know. And I raised the flag about something issue that I had around diversity. And so from then on, they were like, well, we need to bring her part of the conversation, and we need to make sure that she is one that's helping us out, because I was the only one that was there.
Right.
But then on top of that, I'd had my experience with the Dubs, and so they were like, oh, well, this must be her expertise. She must know all about multicultural because this is her background. She was there before.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily something that was part of my repertoire, and I didn't think it needed to be part of my repertoire. And I honestly find myself, I didn't raise my, because to be honest with you, and I've had a lot of people, especially mentors of mine that are much older than me, that have like talked to me about the fact that like, well, you know, this is your cross to bear, and I was like, I don't want it to be, and is that a bad thing?
Like, why I'm bearing a cross? I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to do media.
Like, my thing is like, I'm black as fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm black as hell. Do I really need to tout the fact that I have experience in multicultural advertising? Like, I feel like that's just inherent. So anyway, so I had experiences where I slowly became like the face of diversity at the agency. And quite frankly, at the time I was okay with it, because I was like, my face is being shown. Like,
but were you okay with that?
I was okay with it because at the time it was good for like my career.
But was it a discussion? It seemed like it was not a discussion.
Oh, no, it was not a discussion. It was just, I would get the occasional email that would be like, oh, hey, would love to feature you in this. Or, oh, hey, this event is happening. Would love for you to attend and sit at the table. Oh, hey, this is happening. So it was just more of a situation where it was like, okay, this gives me more opportunity to be in front of like the higher ups at this agency.
Yeah, it's tricky because
integrity wise, it was like, it still didn't feel like it was an attack on my integrity, and I still don't look at it as an attack on my integrity, because I still kept my integrity intact. If anybody said anything wrong in those situations, I would raise it. But the thing about it is, recently I found myself I still get those invites to go to these things. I still get invited to film whatever company things need to be filmed. And recently they invited me to film something for International Women's Day. And they were like, what does it mean to you? And I was like, honestly, I didn't know this was a holiday. So it's great. You know, I love women and I love like supporting this shit, but it's whatever. And we had a discussion. And the interviewer, after I had given the interviewer a few backgrounds, and she was like, so it's like you kind of check all the 3 magic boxes. And I was,
ooh, that's
she
nasty.
said, you kind of check all the 3 magic boxes. She said, you're a woman. She said, you're black. Okay. And she said, you're queer. And I was like, I do check those boxes. I didn't know that they were boxes, but
yeah, I mean, goddamn,
I checked those boxes. They magic, and like I was so caught off guard.
That's weird because now you feel like you're a collectible Negro.
Now I feel like a collectible because I don't go around telling people like I'm a queer black femme. Like that's just never been me.
No,
like I don't feel like I need to tout that. Right? Like,
so okay, question.
I think
go. How does she know you was? I mean, it's obviously you're black. It's obviously you're female, or you identify as a female, right? Because she don't
identify as a female.
She don't know that you could have been something else. You could have been a man before you.
Right. I could have been trans.
You could be trans, right? So, but then the queer thing. How does she know you were queer?
I'm part of all of the affinity groups at my job, and I do like. In personal conversations, identify as queer.
Okay,
but it's not something that is like needs to be part of my job because that's my sexuality, and my sexuality has nothing to do with the day-to-day.
But you didn't raise your hands to be the mayor of all that.
No,
shit, right?
I did not.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I mean,
true. No,
the reason why that's funny is because I think that a lot of these companies, like what you just said, is like
checking boxes
forward
man.
As the
magical
the
boxes.
woman or the black person. It's like you represent all.
Right. But
which is weird.
Unless JJ literally said, I'm going to represent all 3 of these publicly and profess that, then you can't assume that she want to represent all 3 of those or any of those, right?
But I also didn't say no.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And I think that a lot of black people like myself, y'all included, when we're in these situations in these predominantly white spaces where they're already trying to like play us on giving us our opportunity and giving us our flowers, when they
are they real flowers or fake flowers?
You know, sometimes they fake. Sometimes
flowers
they
are flowers.
real.
They can be real fake.
Sometimes they do be fake. But it comes time for them to give you your flowers, and you know they're like, hey, as a black man in this industry, you have really pioneered X and X and X at this company.
Houseway.
Are you gonna sit there and be like, nah, don't give me this Cannes Lion?
Yeah, I'm gonna be rude.
I ain't gonna.
Hey, yo, let's not even go there, cause one of the Ambrose, he's sick, he's hot that he didn't go to Cannes, and know who I'm talking about.
I know.
And I told him we weren't gonna go to Cannes because we're black men. Represent a financial app, whatever.
I mean, honestly,
I told him that.
To answer your question, like, honestly, it hasn't been as serious as going to an award show, but there's been a few times when I've been asked to do something at work, and I was like, no. And they were like, why? I was like, no, I don't feel like it.
So we're tasked with these things, and we're approached, and we're questioned about these things. And
right.
We might not, we might not say like, yeah, I want to move forward with it. Well, JJ said like she didn't say no. But then you just spoke about an instance when you said, nah, I'm cool on that, right? But what about for those people who like, all right, let's say if JJ did say no. And you got the other cat, they're like, all right, cool. I'm on to the next. And now this person's like, yeah, I'll do it. How do you feel about that? Like, all right, you went from Tony who said, nah, I'm cool on that for these, whether it's integrity reasons or whatever the case may be. And now you have somebody who jump on it because like they're not gonna care as much about you when you're saying no. Like you standing up and saying no, like they're not gonna get why you're saying no.
So
right.
What is your question?
My question is associated to the fact that you said no. Let's say if JJ said no, what they do? It's still they're gonna go to the next person. They go to me and I say yes. How do you feel about me And how do you feel about the process of like?
I personally come and have that conversation and be like, yo, I don't know if you should do this because of X, Y, and Z. And if you feel like moving forward from there, then that's
So do you have the conversation with me? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same conversation that Rick James had with Prince and MTV.
And
guess.
can you?
Yeah, well, Rick James at the time was mad at the fact that MTV didn't have enough black artists on it, right? And he was mad for the fact that Prince and Michael Jackson were actually going to allow their videos to be played on MTV.
Their likenesses on.
Well, no, their actual videos being played on MTV because at the time, because MTV had this hard stance about showcasing black talent on the network.
Yeah.
I personally went through this, right? Because look, I'm just looking at, true enough, they put me on this site for the company I work for, right? And it was about design. And it was Black history. They're talking about black, diversity and around ethnicity as well as, gender, right? During Black History Month. And it was a design site that talked about design leaders. Mm-hmm. While I am a design leader at the company I work for, and when it comes down to black people being designers, and there's not a lot of us, right?
Right.
It's real. So for that, I'm like, okay, I see this could work in this manner. However, I didn't give them permission. But that's a big but. When you work for a company, they can use whoever they want. And your likeness because you signed that dotted line.
That's right.
Right? So you can not like it, but they can still move forward with it without your permission. Technically, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at it. Literally and technically.
That's why everything goes back to legal. That's what I said.
So
everything
I
goes
looked
back
at
to legal.
the broad perspective of all of this, right? Like, hey, look, I'm a black man working for a big company like this as a design leader. Now, looking at that, it's not a lot of black people, period, that are design leads any fucking where. Because most people don't think we know how to do that.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, and most people don't want to follow black people regardless of the position they're in. Especially when it comes down to creativity and design. Because those are professions around intent and thinking. Right? So I'm looking at the long tail of it. While they didn't get my permission to use my face to promote this capability at this company, maybe, just maybe, a black dude or woman can see this and be like, damn, that's a black person being highlighted as a design lead at a big company like this. This is inspirational. Right. I have to look at it like that.
All right.
But they didn't get permission.
So that brings us to the next point. You being on the website, do you guys feel like you need...
That was a LinkedIn moment for me. Fuck that.
Do you feel like you need black representation?
Yes.
Female representation?
Yes.
I do.
Let me get the question out.
Yes.
Of course.
I feel you.
You need that.
At a lot of these companies, taking it out of the advertising perspective, let's get into so recently, high-end fashion, Prada,
here we go,
Gucci,
here we go,
Burberry, all have done so if you haven't been
go.
following,
JJ put her phone away.
Prada had they had some type of blackface doll in the store. They got caught for it, and then they took it out. Gucci, they had the sweater that was like blackface.
It was a turtleneck.
They all did
sweater,
blackface,
and it was like big lips.
They all did the minstrel show, watermelon eating shit.
Yeah,
or then, they did the outright
Burberry did the noose.
Yeah.
At a fashion show,
that
which
shit was
could also
weird.
be connected to suicide.
100%. Outside of black
noose,
people,
you think?
Well, who was holding the noose?
It was a fashion
model.
model had a hoodie on, and then
had a noose.
Was it a black model or a white model?
It was
white, and then I guess the hoodie string was.
Well, I guess we always talk about I always talk about tonality, and this is why what I said earlier. It's like you need to have real motherfuckers in the room when we're making these decisions.
Well, I think they have real people there, but okay. So you look at fashion. We like to we like to say that they don't have the right people in the room. Yes, they do. Dude, at the end of the day, it don't take a rocket scientist to know when something is fucked up.
So I guess that brings to the next point. Do you think these were done purposefully?
Yes.
And do you think it's trolling? Because it's like, all right,
100%.
we know this topic is gonna.
I think that's a yes and.
Okay.
I think it's yes, they're doing the troll, and they know that, you know, they don't necessarily have to have the cultural context of what that would mean if I put some offensive out to a group.
Right, and I guess sometimes too,
it's art.
When we talk about art and you do things without context, like it's like
and
art
don't have to have context.
Right, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like art doesn't really have to have context per se.
Yeah.
Unless there's enough people who are offended, and now I have to make a statement.
Yeah. Or you don't make a statement and let that shit ride.
You could.
Because look, we work in this media game.
Yeah.
Some attention or bad attention or bad media is better than no media.
Yeah.
Because guess what we're doing? We're talking about it.
I know we gotta get out of here soon, but so just one more,
We passionate like
two more topics.
Passionate like
Is there anything else you want to say on that, JJ? Because that you brought up a good point to, you know, I guess does that make companies that do take a stand, I guess, does it make you want to invest in companies that take a stand? For example, I was looking it up online. Dick's Sporting Goods decided to take rifles off of their shelves because of the Florida shooting and, you know, a lot of the gun violence that has been going on in America. And, you know, there's a number of companies out there that take a social stand based on something that's going on. And, you know, I think AD just mentioned it. We all know a strategist or someone in the room. So obviously it's all thought about. But, like, do we respect the company that steps up and says, hey, we're not going to, we trying to be on the right side of history. Mm-hmm. I.e., you know, Nike, you could go with that, or a couple other companies.
I think, Tony, to your point, the misconception is that it is thought about, and it's not. It's not, because I've been in the room, and to your point about being a strategist, like, that's my job. Currently, my job, no soft talk. Currently, my job, as prescribed by myself and by my higher ups, as prescribed by myself and my job. Like, my current function right now is all about basically raising that red flag when it comes up and being the person that goes in those meetings with data, okay? With data to be able to say, like, this is why you should not participate in this conversation. Maybe you should think about this. Or this is why you should do this, and instead of thinking about doing this, this is why you should move forward with this idea versus this idea. Like, they don't know. These companies don't know. You have to remember when these people come up with these ideas, and y'all know, like, half the time these creative ideas are coming up because the CEO sat down with, like, his BFF that might be like the CEO of Droga or whatever the fuck, and they had a conversation one night at a bar and decided it would be a good idea to put, you know, XYZ person in an ad, even though XYZ person got hella smoke coming their way, you know, in the culture. But they don't know. It's the same reason why I have clients who still think that investing in gaming and esports is not going to give them the reach that they need, because they still think of, like, gaming and esports. That Fortnite, but they still to this day,
5 a.m. in the morning.
To this day, like, they still think about esports and gaming being like homeboys that be sitting in their mom's basement. And whether that may not be true or not, at the end of the day, those motherfuckers are given reach. You know, Twitch has more subscribers than even Netflix and HBO put together.
Shit.
If we're talking real shit, yes.
Goldman
Sachs just dropped. Look, I'll be coming with my. Here's the thing. I talk about culture, but I come with the data to back it up, because these companies, and I think that's where the fault of these agencies comes, is that we don't come with the actual data to back our shit up. Ad bros, like, y'all got the views. Promote the motherfucking views. I mean, the fucking listens. Like,
right.
If you got 11,000, like, that's reach. So
are you saying that? I mean, regardless of how you feel, are you saying that a lot of these social stands from companies aren't authentic?
Yes, totally.
All right, so you saying that, do you think people should, regardless of it being authentic, do you think people should support a company that is taking a social stand? Because I think in the not even talking about Trump, but being in the climate we're in, is just like, it's either you're on the right side of shit or you're on the wrong side of shit, that's how I feel. It's just like,
I think.
would you be with a company
I think
who
people need to look at a company and see how they've taken a historical stance.
Correct.
Right, because
Correct.
if you could do a one-off, but if that's not your ethos or that's not what you normally are, that's your MO, then you just opportunists.
Honestly, though,
so you think? Okay.
I agree, but I also disagree because I think Starbucks is a great example.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Starbucks.
But Starbucks historically have always tried to be
They
inclusive.
have, however, to this day,
To this day.
I just
bought
to
Starbucks
this
this
day,
morning. Don't, please.
Starbucks. I mean, that's another conversation.
black
But
dudes.
Starbucks to this day still has an executive board
Yeah.
that is only
Primarily white.
13. That is primarily white. And only in the last year did they increase their percentage from like a low under 10% to like 13% diversity.
True.
And they have a large ass fucking board. So,
They do.
and these are the same people that in 2016 decided it was a good idea to have a campaign talking about let's make the baristas have conversation with other people about race.
Right, race.
So like at the end of the day, it's less
Yeah,
about
give
like
me my coffee, dude. Leave
me
it alone.
personally, just because I'm like, we got a short life to live. I'm gonna live it the way I want to live. I'm gonna do what I want to do
Right.
correctly. But at the end of the day, like if you're gonna support something, understand that understand that there's a difference between morality and the bottom line.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies are doing shit just because
Bottom
it's just the
line.
bottom line, and they don't care.
What did
nor do
Rose
they
say?
think that the morality is important. And if morality is important to you, then you can decide to opt out of damn near everything because everybody dirty.
It's true.
Versus,
I mean, Rose
if
said it.
if you want to support companies and raise your voice or have an active part, meaning working on those accounts, making your way into it. If you're listening to this and you're on a black exec and you are at a company that does not have enough diversity, please do your part and raise your voice enough to make sure that you create some sort of inclusivity in
Right.
your organization. Because that's really where this stuff starts. Nobody was on that Starbucks board to tell them like, y'all can't talk about race with the fact that like it's all white men that run this company.
Right. Very true.